she's saying Comey's lying. Can you just see the rope beginning to frazzle here, folks? Can you see this intricate web of deceit beginning to unravel? Here are Trump's tweets on the tapes. With all of the recently reported electronic surveillance, intercepts, unmasking, and illegal leaking of information, I have no idea whether there are tapes or recordings of my conversations with James Comey, but I did not make and do not have any such recordings. Well, he's acknowledging there might be some. He doesn't have any knowledge, but with all this leaking and all of the unmasking and all the surveillance, it might be, but he didn't do it.
Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. It's a needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter, recruiter.com/go-hire.
Michael Jackson here, blood on the dance floor of the DNC dance hall. Great to have you, Elf. Seriously, here's Debbie Bleibermaus-Schultz calling Jeh Johnson a liar. January 10th, that Comey told members of Congress that he had asked for permission to investigate the DNC server after the news that it had been hacked, and Debbie Bleibermaus-Schultz said no. Now, here's an important thing to remember. Comey didn't have to leave it there. He and the DNC said no. Comey could have gotten it with a grand jury subpoena. But he allowed the Democrat National Committee to stonewall him. Subpoena the server, that would have meant going through Loretta Lynch. And so he said, I'm never. The 6th was January, not in October. In January, Comey is confirming this. They couldn't, folks, they couldn't afford to let the FBI see that server. They couldn't afford because Hillary's vulnerability on her own server, in their minds, had been successfully shunted aside with Comey back on July 5th. And because he couldn't find intent, which was ridiculous. It's not part of the law. He made it up. But anyway, doing all this with Trump, when in fact it had happened with their own servers. And if their servers were that vulnerable that the Russians or anybody else could get in, imagine a server in a bathroom in a house in Chappaqua where Clinton's stooping to help. I mean, that wouldn't be a stretch at all to figure out that could happen. So they had to downsell it. So Comey asks her for this server, asks the DNC. They say no, and he doesn't subpoena. He says, okay. So he allowed himself to be stonewalled. I have to tell you, we've been treated to a huge, and we're still the hoax. It's a gigantic diversion, but it's about to begin eating them alive. This is really about what is the mother's milk of politics? Mr. Washington Examiner, Democrats had the worst May fundraising since 2003. Democrat National Committee raised nearly $4.3 million in May. That's the organization's worst May on record raising since 2003, according to newly released Federal Election Commission data. A fundraising month in April, in which the DNC hauled in $4.7 million. It was the worst April since 2009. Educated voters, and they just got all this. And here's another thing to keep in mind about Democrat donations. This is becoming more and more obvious to me. I do not know yet what the ultimate ramifications are, but most of the big money that is coming into the Democrats, be the candidate coming from fringe leftists, really hyper-wealthy fringe leftists. Fringe leftists in Silicon Valley, fringe leftists in Hollywood, leftists wherever they are. They're not, I mean, these are the people that think Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Michael Moore are the future of America and the future of the Democrat Party. That's where their big money's coming from. Expect Bill Clinton will bring his harem to your house when they're out front. You expect policy considerations, editorial position. When you're giving and raising gazillions, and the people after the Democrat Party are the real fringe, let this guy Tom Steyer, who's one of these just out of the world climate change fruitcakes. There's a faction developing in the Democrat Party, and you can see it on election night Tuesday, going far enough left, and they're not doing it soon enough. They looked at the Ossoff campaign, they saw a centrist campaign, they saw a moderate campaign, they saw a guy who was too nice, and they're thinking this is not the way. They want rabid confrontation. The people who are giving the money are also the people paying for these violent protests and riots, although they expect loyalty and results. It's going to continue to be pulled a wacko fringe left because that's where most of the money is coming from, up with the Republicans. They can raise money there, but that doesn't translate to enough votes as from the wedge and present normal people in, well, normal for them is still wacko left. But the problem, the wackos with the money will not let the Democrats moderate in any way, how much they want to moderate anyway. And I don't know how the RNC is raising money either. I mean, it's a mystery to me. But they're out raising Democrats left and right, I think, to tell you the truth. This is the real reason. And look, I'm sure the negatives are, but it's never bothered them before. What Republicans say about them. They're having trouble raising money. And Clinton, unique in terms of presidential candidates and their image. Hillary Clinton is one of the first presidential candidates whose image has continued to worsen after. Gallup says that Hillary is unique in the fact that she has no post-election image improvement. Americans are no more likely to view Hillary Clinton favorably than they were before last year's presidential election. 41% have a favorable view, 41 to 43. 57 have a negative review. 57% after the election. And a personal appearance is almost a cult-like devotion among those that do show up, the 200 or 300 that show up. Now, as she was before she ran for dictator, losing candidates' favorable ratings improved because political independents and supporters of the opposing political party grow to view the candidate more positively after the election because your attitudes about them soften. There's no reason to be energetically opposed, but with Hillary, the opposition and the negatives are growing. Current ratings among Republicans are 11%, among independents 33%, just as last November before she lost to Trump. Presidential candidate or something, and I feel compelled to do that through on Trump, and he's flipped the narrative here. What he's done here with these two tweets, forcing CNN and breaking news about that. I just love every minute. Plus, we've got audio of Trump's rally last night. I want to get, of course, your phone call. So coming back right after this and getting started with all of that. IP Network. Areas he can explore. Exactly right. Do you know what I've encountered this 2 or 3 times, and each time seems to be more and more truthful, and that is this all going. Deep state item or leak or what have you, foundation for all of this. The reason, the excuse is that fake Trump dossier. CIA for Obama, claiming it formed the basis for primary starting points or reasons for all of this to take place. It was phony. It was made up. There wasn't a shred. There wasn't a syllable. There wasn't a vowel or consonant in that document that was true. Investigation. And Trump couldn't win in this. The more Trump reacted to it and thought it was ridiculous, he is acting like he's got something to hide here. He wouldn't be this upset about it if there wasn't something there. You're right about journalism being abandoned. I think that happened before this investigation began. Your point, they have joined the deep state and have quasi-investigators themselves. There's been trafficking in things that didn't happen, trafficking in things that have no evidentiary foundation, aimless, anonymous allegations. This dossier, which may have even been requested, but rather as an example, it's a flimsy excuse that they've offered. We had to show Trump the kind of things that are possible. I think this dossier was specifically used. The way it happens, they have the dossier into the prostitutes while he was staying in the same room that Barack and Michelle stayed in once when they were there, 4 seasons. Trump hired prostitutes to come in and urinate on the bed, the golden showers. And they do it under the guise, it's happening at a time where Trump is saying he doesn't want to meet with intel people every day. He's a smart guy with a good memory. He doesn't need to meet with them every day. Well, they don't like that. They want to be meeting with every day because they want to matter and they want to have influence. And so this dossier was put together by somebody from MI6. His name is Steele, Christopher Steele. And the very act of showing it to Trump validated it as sole purpose. Its sole purpose was to have the intel community show it to Trump and then report that Trump had seen it, and there you have it. And what are the chances it's true? And then the rest, all of it falls to the wayside, except for the fact that it's there and forms the basis, leaks and the other details and so forth that have come forward. Special counsel, for absolutely no reason other than the political objectives the people behind the special counsel hope to achieve.
Front Brilliant on the EIP Network. Technology. ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. It's a needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. Twitter.com/radio offer. That's Twitter.com/radio offer.
The drive-bys are beside themselves. The White House has said no cameras for the press briefing today. It's audio only. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing the briefing. Wolf Blitzer, the audio soundbite coming up, freaked out, along with somebody else, CNN. Anyway, sit tight, my friends. Fastest 3 hours in media continue soon. Ladies, welcome back. Happy to have you here, Rush Limbaugh, executing assigned host duties flawlessly, 0 mistakes from the Sullivan Group. In Roseville, California, documentary almost always right, 99.8% of the time. 800-282-2882 if you'd like to join us. There is a man by the name of Avik Roy. Avik Roy, he writes at National Review. He writes for Forbes. He is involving the hijab. I mean, this guy's expertise by a Republican Congress in my lifetime. I will repeat, AVIK, finished reading the Senate health care bill. Put simply, if it passes, it'll be the greatest policy achievement by a GOP Congress in my lifetime. Exactly what he wants in a health care bill.